Yeah, I'm so thankful that I had got a chance to get on. But I want to just say I am a professional person. I'm a librarian. I have 2 master's degrees. I'm 52 years old, and I grew up in a small town called Masontown, Pennsylvania. It's in Fayette County. And in the ninth grade, I was called a nigger by the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan in my area. They threatened to burn a cross in my house and all of that. And I guess when I listen to, the guy who did Dilbert or whatever, this man is 65 years old. And, I grew up with white people in my life, some of them racist, some of them not. And I'll be honest, I just don't agree this time. Usually you are my girl. I agree with anything you say. But in this particular case, I feel like white people feel like they can't say anything without us getting mad about every little thing that is going on in the world. We know we have to be 2 times twice as good. We know that we're not going to get the opportunities. My last job, I have a discrimination suit right now with the EEO. I had complete discrimination done against me. But guess what? It didn't stop me from still achieving what I achieved. I'm still taking classes. I'm still trying to do my very best and live my very best life.
I'm just confused. What did I say that you disagree with?
Well, I just feel like you were saying he was gaslighting. He's basically trying to get another stream of income. And that
you don't believe that? You don't believe that he's trolling us?
I don't. I really honestly don't. I do believe, though. I will say this. I do believe that some of the stuff he said based on his own experience. He doesn't really honestly understand what we go through. Now, he's trying to call himself being an ally. Obviously, some people believe that he's not. You
believe that he's being an ally? Because I see the nuance in his conversation when you go beyond just the soundbite clips that you can pull out and make him look really crazy. I see what he thinks he's attempting to do in that space. But I also feel like he's very bitter as well. Yes. And, if you live in a country where you're seeing people progress, like I'm sure in your space, you got a lawsuit. So your progression looks like oppression to somebody that's used to seeing you in a subservient role. So every place you turn, we got the president was a black man. Now we got a vice president. They just put a black woman on the Supreme Court. Look, the Senate. Look at that. All of these black people just everywhere, and they walking around just having money. Look at all these rappers with all this. I don't have a Bentley it's like that scene in Rosewood. I don't have a piano. Look at all these black people like in Greenwood, Tulsa. They got airplanes over there. They have doctors and dentists. Well, we don't even have teeth in our community. How dare they? How dare they? Let's burn it down. But this is what I'm saying, to you and everyone listening, Nicole, that foments into its jealousy, it's insecurity, it's weakness. But in a mob setting, which we saw with the Capitol, is deadly. Yeah. And I need us all to be vigilant. And you're right. I think with this guy is nuanced, but all it takes is a group, to put this on Reddit. And now he's their hero. Whatever he intended, I don't know. I don't know what's in that man's heart, Nicole, but I do know that this kind of language left unchecked is dangerous because I saw it happen in Nazi Germany. So what are your thoughts on that? You have the last word.
Well, I definitely agree with you. That's why I said I love you. And pretty much anything that you say, I pretty much heavily agree with. But I just want to say this. Like, I had a situation. I get heavily triggered by racial situations based on my experience being called and stuff growing up.
Let's not foam. I don't want to ever use that word anymore.
Sorry about that. But I'm just saying, being called the N-word repeatedly, I get triggered easily, Karen, okay? Easily. And I feel like I can almost smell a racist. I can almost smell them. Like, I just feel like because of the way I grew up, I feel like I just can tell right away. And so all I'm saying is, when we have allies and allies try to be honest, we can't just completely destroy everything they say. Now, I'm not sure if he's an ally. I don't know. All I know is what I heard. And
Well, I think he said something that I thought was provocative and at the same time very interesting when he called affirmative action racist, and he was like, it was racist, and I was like, I see what you're doing, because it literally was supposed to be set aside for Black people, and on its face, that would be considered racist, right? Where you are discriminating against one group in favor of another. So he was being completely clever with saying and I agreed with it. And he said, I agreed with affirmative action because the system needed a sledgehammer. And I was like, that's real clever what you just did there. And then he says later on, we're all racist. We're all racist because the system is racist. And I was like, yes, but you can't play around with this powder keg because you don't know what you're lighting and what's going to blow up. And the best way someone who considers themselves an ally can help is to educate yourself,
right,
and check your cousins in them. Like really check your family members, your uncles, your papas, and the people in your family and your life and your circle, because 75% of y'all are self-segregated. Go into your neighborhood and do that work. Don't come talking to us. We're not the problem. Black people are not the problem. We didn't create the system. We didn't even create Blackness. All right. So educate yourself if you're a real ally and do the work on yourself, and then gather up your people.
Right, because he didn't have any authority because he was coming in from the outside and saying all of these things. Listen, the thing about affirmative action in my head is that it, like he said, it needed a sledgehammer taken to the system. And somehow everybody acts like we're all equal now. Now we've had, and it's so not. And we just finished Hannah Nicole Jones' book, the 1619 Project in my little book club. Shout out to the book club because they're all listening. But one of the things that I think that she really makes a great point. I mean, she makes a great point about a lot of stuff, but I just feel like we're not done yet. And affirmative action was the best tool at the time. And it may not be the best right now, but I don't see anybody coming up with any alternatives. I don't see. And so what, we're going to just, after, being enslaved for 250 years, now all of a sudden 30 years of affirmative action and everything's good. We're all good now.
Wow. But the 30 years again of affirmative action benefited more white women than it did Black people. So I think again, the challenge is, because here's the other thing that happens with affirmative action. I check a box and I hire people who I know are not up to par. So then I can say it doesn't work because I'm still in charge of hiring. So now I'm going to bring in. So I know for a fact, Rene, I got hired on an affirmative action, but they thought at 21 years old, and, the way I presented is, this loud kind of like, they didn't know me. I came in and was like, ha, psych. You thought you got me messed up. Okay. And when the guy said that to me, I was like, oh, who you think you're talking to? Oh, you think I'm okay. All right. But so for the most part, though, they would have been correct in hiring a person with no experience, throwing me into this situation where I should have failed. Right. And then you can go see, we had this set aside, we brought them in, and I know that now. Right. I just had a little bit more for them, but not everyone does. And if you look and y'all know y'all work with people and you're like, how in the hell, how y'all gonna hire? This is so embarrassing. Y'all know you got embarrassing people on your job right now.
I think we had a president like that.
Girl. Yes. Say that. Affirmative action. Speaking of affirmative action hires. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, that's the trick of the system too, is to, yes, well, I'm forced to do this, or HR, we have 20% of the workforce, and you make sure that you hire the tropes. You hire weak people that are never going to challenge you. You hire people that are going to get along. You hire as many Herschel Walkers and Tim Scotts as you can get in, and as many people as Candace Owens, because you recognize that if you hire people that are actually going to do what affirmative action was meant to do, which is to break the system of its stranglehold on power and make it equal, then you lose your power, which is what this is all about.